Alrighty, good afternoon, good morning. My name is Chris Winters, and welcome to the new Kallzu 2.0 coaching webinar here. We'll begin and resume these regular webinars again, and we'll kick off this one with I want to go over and share a little bit about the new Kallzu system, how it works, answer some of the most common questions we've been getting, and then go to the chat box and answer some questions that you may have about it. First of all, this is about literally this is about 2 years in the making, and the last 8 months very intensive in here, and we have a laundry list of really exciting features we're going to already add to it. But let me just start off by saying, if you're love and use the current Kallzu system, we're just going to keep that up because we know that there's going to be people out there that are going to want to keep that and maintain it, and that's perfectly fine. We're not going to abandon it or abandon any of the users there. Quite frankly, from a bottom line perspective, we make more money if you keep the current Kallzu system. So that's not our motivation here. Our motivation here is really just to improve and evolve the system, and stay ahead of the technology that is out there, and we're going to continue to do that. So let me just break down for you just some of the numbers here and kind of how this. Let me get that out of the way, and then I'll ask some of the most common questions that we've been getting in the at our support desk system. And then I also want to go over the new Kallzu theme, the things that we've added to it, and then how we're using it, and the new model that we've been using very successfully by using one master domain. But I will go over all of that on the call here today, tonight, or wherever you are. So with that, let me pull up my Word document. I just copied and pasted it on here, and basically let me just go over the numbers and stuff with you. So these numbers are based on a couple of averages that we see with the users in the back end with the original Kallzu system, and that is the average user, and this will obviously vary. There can be some outlining, but just this is averages. The average user per phone number, per Kallzu tracking number, uses approximately 30 minutes. Some less per month, some more, but that's just the average. So based off of that, the current Kallzu system, the phone numbers there are $3 a month and 10 cents per minute. So that's how I came up with some of these numbers on here. So and this basically works out the same way, no matter how many numbers you have. Basically, the more numbers that you use, the far less it's going to your operating costs are going to be. But let's just get started. Let's say that you got 8 numbers, which is a low number. The average person out there, the average Kallzu user for us has 22 numbers. So just an FYI, some less, some a lot more, but that's the average. So if you just had 8 numbers with the original Kallzu, based on the stats that I gave you, at the $3 a month per phone number, the 10 cents per minute, the average usage, you're going to end up spending around $48 a month. You've got paying customers, paying for those leads. It's going to be, that cost is easily covered. But with the new Kallzu system, the phone numbers there, and then to get, I think it's 10 numbers or less, it's $9.99 per month plus the cost of numbers, which are $1, and then 1 cent per minute. So based on those averages, you're going to save right away around $18 just using a low number of just 8 numbers. If you use 20 numbers and the average for our users is 22, then the savings becomes much more significant, at least around the 50% range. You add up the total minutes, the monthly cost per phone number, and you compare that side by side with the new Kallzu 2.0, and you're going to be paying a lot less. Those numbers just become greater the more numbers that you have. Okay, so that's how the basic math works on here. If you haven't already, and so let me get out some of the basic questions that we've been getting, and the first one is, can I port or transfer numbers over from my original Kallzu system to the new one? And unfortunately, you cannot. We're using and the reason you can't is that we're using a different base source, which is Twilio. And in fact, the way that we've set up the Kallzu system now than the new one, you're just buying and working directly with Twilio API. Some of you already set up your systems and are doing that now. And you're just working directly with them, and I'll go over how that works shortly. And our original source for the original Kallzu numbers are different than Twilio, so there's no way to port. They call it porting or transferring the numbers over. That's why you can't, and that's another reason why we're not going to close or shut down the original Kallzu system. We'll keep operating that. In fact, there was just a little bug in there found in the original Kallzu. These things take constant upkeep, but there was just a little bug found in there the other day, and that'll be taken care of today. It's still operational. The majority of you aren't seeing or feeling it, but there are a couple members that have reported it in. So, but that's the skinny with that. You cannot transfer or port numbers over from the original Kallzu system over to the new one. If there was any possible way we could do it, we would. We have really good programmers. If it was possible, we would do it, and that was one of the main concerns that I had when building this. Is, hey, people are going to want to transfer these numbers over, but and some of you won't be able to do that, and some of you, for various reasons, are going to be kind of married to those numbers. They're earning an income for you, so we're not forcing anybody to switch over. But what you may want to consider doing is trying out the new system, and you can still work side by side, because you're going to have more features, which I'm going to show you those in a minute, and it's going to be a lower operating cost for you, no matter which way you look at it or slice it. So if you've got a few numbers that you absolutely got to keep for whatever reasons, then just continue with that with the original Kallzu system. You want to try out the new one, lower your operating costs, and also increase the amount of benefits and features that you've got. Then you can do that too. And so all of you should have received on here, but this is I'll just put this in the chat box. But this is the coupon code in here. And you just get that first month for free. You're not charged $1 or anything like that. It's for free. And let me throw that in the chat box and send to all. Okay, so the other question that I'm getting a lot of, and I think I already answered it, but do you have to change? Do you have to switch over? No, you don't. When you go in and you if you want to start out at the lowest package that we have, you can do that. You can upgrade later. And you can upgrade and downgrade. It's not a problem. Very easy to do. And then there's a few of you who've asked for I guess what we'd probably call an enterprise system, where you've got over 100 numbers that you're using and stuff, and so we would be pricing that differently. Your costs will just go down the more that you're doing, and the new Kallzu system is working off of Twilio for the phone numbers. And the way we've worked it seamlessly is that once you open up a Twilio account, you just I go through all the instructions inside the Kallzu. Just get this API number. You get a key number. Very simple to do. You can get it set up in 2 or 3 minutes, and boom, you're done. And your two systems are completely connected together. Okay, so what other major questions? I think I covered just about every question that we've been receiving so far. Let me just open up the chat box and see if I missed any major ones there before we kind of move on there. Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Jeff, for that. Good. Answered all the questions so far. Yep, we're going to restart the regular webinar calls. Yes, for sure, 100%. So, yeah, okay, that's a great question on that. So if you, let's say that you've got, a $50 credit on your older Kallzu system, you take us up on the month free for the new one. You poke around with it. You decide, this is much better. This is exactly what I want to be doing. I test it out and see all the advantages to this. So I'm going to move forward with this, and I've got 4 or 5 numbers now, or however many. I'm going to go ahead to process and purchase new numbers and get those numbers replaced on my lead gen sites. And a side note on that, if when you change your phone numbers on your sites, this was another concern. It's a good, valid concern. But if you change your number on your lead gen site, your lead gen site is, you've probably worked hard to get it to rank. It's not going to permanently affect your ranking status. Okay, it's not enough of a change. It's probably still going to be the same area code, right? And it's just the 7 numbers afterwards that are going to be changing. So I wouldn't worry about that. Now, there is a possibility that when you do switch out your number and on your lead gen site, that you might experience a little bit of a Google dance, but I doubt it, but you might. And if you do, it'll just bounce right back up. It's not much of a change to a site for really Google to say, hey, what's going on here? This is too much of a change. We need to kind of drop this back down and re-examine this with our spiders. So and so if you've got you made the transition over, and you've got 50, 45, or 25, or $6 of credit, whatever, then just contact support, and we will send you that a refund. It's too hard from a PayPal and a logistics standpoint to credit you that money to your existing account. We would like to do that, but what we'll have to do is just refund you those funds back. We'll still leave your existing or your original Kallzu account open, so if you ever want to go back to it, you can. But I really see people, once they make the switch over, and I know what it's like to have a system that you've used day in and day out, and all of a sudden the interface and everything has changed, and even if it's for the better, sometimes the learning curve, although there isn't much of one here, but they can be like, this is such a pain, why did they have to do this? But I think once you get through it, you will be good. So good questions with the credit. Yes, of course you would be. Let's go through a couple of others. On accounting, invoicing, the top line, your company Twilio number, can you explain one of these? So if you have to buy another Twilio number for this on your own. So let me go back. I'll come back, and that's a good kind of demo question. So let me make sure I get all this kind of the initial kind of transfer type questions answered here, and I'll get back to that one. Yes, Kevin, Kevin and Eros, you can, because everyone on this call and the emails that we sent out, you're all, I would call, charter members, and so these are these prices that you were given there. I think in the video I said that they'll go up, but the video is a little bit generic. It wasn't specific towards the charter members, but those prices will be frozen. So if you want to start out on a smaller package and work your way up or down or whatever you want to do, those will just those prices will stay the same. And I guess I should probably put because I don't want to go I don't want to say forever, but just to cover my tracks and be straight with everybody, let's just say 12 months. And if there was going to be some kind of price change in there, it would be we'd let everyone, all the charter members, know well in advance. But so, okay, so the first month expense, I guess then is Twilio. Yes, Carl, that's right. So that would be Twilio. Usually, if you're starting out, it depends. Some of you are already familiar with Twilio. If you're not, basically, the majority of you are U.S. numbers. We now have any number that Twilio has. So we've started out. I just had the programmers. I said, hey, don't go nuts and just like offer every single country out there. Some of them may never get used. Let's just do what I think would be the top 6 or 7 most popular ones, and that's what you see in there when you get inside the system. You'll see like Canada. We've been getting requests for Canada since the day that we opened. So we have Canada, Australia, UK, and some others in there. But if you've got a new market you want to open up in France or Brazil, as long as Twilio's got the numbers, and if you make the request during the week, it shouldn't take more than a couple of days for us to just add that in the system. So you've got the drop down on the phone number for whatever country. If we start getting a lot of those, I'll just have them go ahead and just add all of them. But so so the Twilio expenses. Normally, the way that Twilio works is that when you open up your account and you want to buy some numbers, you can open up with I think $5 or $10 on that money is completely refundable through Twilio, and then you can set it up such that it will automatically let's say you're for the US the phone numbers are $1 a month and $1 per minute for inbound calls, so very, very inexpensive. But let's say that you started out with $10, and then you bought a phone number, so you're down to $9 and some change because you maybe start getting some phone calls coming in, and then you can set it up the threshold however you want. You can tell Twilio through your billing and your account that hey, once it gets down below $2, you have permission to charge my PayPal or credit card, $5 or $10 to bring it back up, and then they always email you when that happens. So all that actually makes it a lot easier. And if you want to cancel numbers, then you just cancel directly. You cancel through our system, but it just speaks directly to Twilio and cancels the number. In there, don't want to miss any of the questions here. Let me go in there. Can we that's a good question. I'm going to have to save that one, Eric. Can we move Twilio numbers into your control panel? I believe so. Let me get a list of questions here and save those on a Excel sheet so that let me just pop that open there, and then I'll save that question, and then I'll ask our master programmer, who's great. Okay, so what about the credit in the system? The credit in the existing Kallzu system, if you and some have already done this. They say just go ahead and cancel out all my original Kallzu numbers. And whatever balance you have in there, we just send it back to your PayPal account. So all of the pricing for it's a good question. Tony asked about the pricing in down under in Australia. That's whatever prices that Twilio charges. So if it's $1 or $1.50, and then and then 2 cents a minute or 1 cent a minute or whatever. There are going to be slight differences, but they mirror exactly that you see in our system in Twilio. It's the same prices. So, okay, good question. Chris asked on here, if I switch a number to the new system, will Google ding my rankings? I think I answered that, and you pretty sure bet, nothing's 100% sure, but I would say, 99% sure you'll be just perfectly fine. And if for some reason they did, it's not a real major change, but for some reason they did, then it would just be like a little Google dance. It would definitely come right back. It's not like you're redoing your home page, or you've got a 500 word home page and you're redoing 200 words or something like that. So it's not a significant enough change for Google to kick off Google's algorithm to say, whoa, this might be a completely different site that maybe the end users will have a completely different experience. We need to kind of check this out and see what's going on. Nothing like that's going to go on. Where's the training area, Pat? I'll go over that. It's actually inside. There'll be new training uploaded within the PaperCall members area, and I'll be starting that immediately. And then as far as the training on how to actually use the system, that's actually inside the system itself, and I'll go over that. The new revised theme on that's just if you've got the current theme, and when there's a new update, and you log in, you'll get that little plug-in, little alert, you've got one new update or two or whatever, and you can update the themes from there. If you don't have the Kallzu theme and you're not using it, which you don't have to, but with some of the new changes that we've added, you're definitely going to want to. I'll go over that in a second. But otherwise, that's in the PaperCall Ninja members area. Okay, cool. Yes, the work pages. The new pages for the Kallzu theme are mobile, of course, ready, and then we've also added on the new Kallzu theme the tap to call. So if someone's on a PC and they just want to click to call, they can click to call your number. That's an option. Some people like it. It just makes it easier. They don't have to actually pick up their phone. And then, like many users, if you do track this stuff on Google Analytics, I know everyone's saying that everyone's going mobile, and like 50% or more people are visiting your sites locally. We haven't seen that yet. There's definitely I guess it depends on the niche too, right? But if you do track that stuff through Google Webmaster, which we recommend, you can see what Google will give you that data. They'll tell you, did someone from an Android find your site and look at it, or iPhone or PC or whatever. And we're seeing, still seeing the vast majority are coming from a computer, not a mobile device. But that's going to change depending on what kind of niche you're in. But in any event, regardless, people are using more and more smartphones. And so now what happens, it just happens automatically. If you've got the new or installed or updated the new Kallzu theme, you just, take a look at it on your own Android phone and see what it looks like. And it's got a big green tap to call button. I think it's green colored. Right across the bottom of the screen. It's pretty hard to miss. And that's what people expect when they're on a mobile device. And now that's that tap to call is directly to your Kallzu number, regardless of the source of it. Yes, credit for the funds on that. For your old systems, you decide to make the switch over, you've got some credits left over, regardless of how old. We'll, of course, get those back. Okay, so Claire Austin here. If we sign up with the K2, we'll just like that K2, would be the new Kallzu system, and want to opt out of the K1, what steps must you take? All you need to do, the first thing you want to do is first sign up for the new one, and walk through it, become familiar with it. Maybe buy a number with it. Just walk through it and get familiar with it, so the transition is as easy as possible. You don't have to turn off one system and the other. It doesn't need to be like a light switch. You can run two simultaneously. But once you decide you want to make the full switch, then whatever numbers you have in your existing K1 account, then it would behoove you to want to cancel those numbers. You just follow the procedures to cancel those numbers in the K1 account. And that's, you've got to, we have to actually manually do it in the back end. So you just send our support desk, let them know, and then let us know what your PayPal is, and whatever balance you have left, whatever it is, $1.50 or whatever, we will send that back to you, and stuff. So we'll make it real simple, as simple as we can. You could use a phone number changer. Okay, hold on. You're welcome. So thank you for the wonderful service and the new app. You're certainly welcome. So can you give me an estimate on what it would cost for like 300 to 500 phone numbers with the new Kallzu system? That's all going to depend on the number of minutes that you use. But with that kind of volume, Marco, you're looking at contact our support for those higher numbers on there. But it'll be a lot less, way more than 50% savings in what you're currently doing now. So it'll just be slightly above something with that kind of volume, because we're technically hosting it and hosting all of the data that you're storing and stuff. So we just have to make sure that we've got our costs covered there. But data these days is not that expensive. And then although with the white label program, which I'll go over here, which is really easy to do and very cool, you can use a subdomain of yours, and we're still technically hosting that, but it shows up on your domain. I'll go over that later, but our programmers just did a fantastic job, especially our head programmer. Okay, so no, this is not off the subject here. Doug asks, because there's a lot of buzz about the Webify. Hope this is not far off topic. Does Webify work with what we're trying to do and the new Kallzu theme? What Webify does is that it'll help you set up sites quicker and faster. So if you want to set up a lot of sites, and you maybe you're not real familiar with like cPanel, it will set up your sites the way you like them. It'll clone them. It has its own source of backlinks and stuff, and other backlinks that you can add to it. And you can add content to it. You can drag and drop and add silo structures to it and all that kind of stuff. They started working on that thing 4 years ago. I know Ricky personally. I started working on it 4 years ago, and he is a programmer himself, and he's been working with that. They have many customers that they've had for years, and if you go out on the market regularly and get it, it's not a scarcity thing. It's not something that's dying or going away or anything like that. I think today you can get it for like $37 or something like that. Don't quote me on that exactly, but normally it is $297. So it really is, and it really will go back up to that. So, so if you want a tool to make it a little bit easier to set up sites, to more kind of duplicate and leverage your time, that's something you may want to look at. Just watch the demos. That I'm sure you're all getting blasted with emails with that kind of stuff. Just take a look at the demos and make a decision for yourself. It's something you'd like to do. So I'll move on with that. We will get into obviously there's Google. Ron's asked here, am I going to go over some of the new algorithm changes, particularly with the video with Google, and with our regular calls restarting back up, I will be addressing those kind of things. Okay. A good question. Kevin asked, can we import the recorded calls and invoicing history over the new system? No, you cannot. Sorry about that. But we will leave your current Kallzu account open so that you can access that information should you need it. So that's another thing. If you're gonna make the switch over, and you've decided you're gonna get new numbers, go through all that kind of stuff, and if you got any credit balance left, then we'll credit that back to your PayPal account. You'll still have access to your existing to the we'll just call it the K1 system, the original K1 system. Recorded calls, invoicing, stuff like that. Existing. If someone wanted to reboot your pay-per-call business, where would you start? Okay, so basically, I just kind of shortened the question down. That, if there are going to be some of the people out there like that, and Joel asked if you basically kind of wanted to restart your whole kind of pay-per-call business, where would you start? The first place I would start is really with the as far as selecting a niche goes, in module 1 and the process about going about that. That kind of stuff is unchanged. You still want to take careful consideration with that. And if you want to email our support staff and say, hey, I've narrowed down, I'm kind of restarting here. I've narrowed down these 3 niches, and this is some of the data that I've taken a look at. We'll keep that in complete privacy. We've got our own niches. We're busy it is. We're not out there trying to hijack or steal anyone else's niches. Then we'd be happy to give you some feedback out of those three and say, hey, this one's, kind of from our experience in the business world. These might be some shortcomings on this particular niche that maybe you haven't thought of, and it may not prevent you from moving forward, but you may want to reconsider this one, and this one here. We would give you any kind of intel and experience that we could share with you, and it's I would definitely use that. Okay, thank you. Good. Yeah, I'm going to add this. This is recorded and add this to the members area. Okay. Yeah, the other coupon codes that you saw on the screen there, those are, well, I'm going to have the guy void those right away. If anybody uses those, don't. We'll know. So just don't do that. It wasn't, and I'll have those turned off. As far as the Webify goes on this end of it, if you're going to do the Webify system, it is a $300 piece of software, period. And I think, for those of you who have it and you go in the back end, you can feel it. It's a very robust system. It's not some plug-in or something like that was, put together, 8 weeks ago for a launch or something like that. It's been around. It's very robust. There's a lot to it on that end of it. And if you wanted to go all out and get the pro version, if those features are something that you think you'd use in your business, you are not going to see it at the normal price later. So you have to make that choice yourself. Okay. Yep. 37. Okay, good. Yeah, the Webify is completely and totally different. I don't want to make this webinar about webinar, but I'm just answering the questions here, and then I'll move on with the topic at hand. If you SEO Zen versus Webify, it's like night and day. SEO Zen works fine, but Webify is like a whole nother level, like 10 different levels up. So, yep. And if anyone, Doug asks, says here, I already have a Twilio account with an email address. You can just use, some of you already have Twilio accounts. And if you've got your Twilio account, you can use the exact same one that you have. You just, I'll show you where to access the videos and that. You're just going to go in, you're going to get your IP, you're going to get your key number, boom, and just copy it, paste it into the new system, and you're done. It's just going to be that simple. Okay. Okay, so Kevin here, there's just input from the community here. So this is Kevin's input here. Says, I've used Webify for a year. It is good for affiliate marketing, but would not recommend it for pay-per-call model personally. So appreciate that feedback. I don't have anything to gain or lose whether you get it or not. So that's just coming from one of the members who's had it for a year. Alrighty. Okay, so let me get into, I'll come back to some of the questions later, but let me actually kind of just walk you through the system on here. And this is a test account on here. What we recommend when you get in, you'll see the welcome video in there, but we do welcome, I recommend that you work from the left-hand side over to the right as you're working through the system. And as you're working through the system, wherever you see this little help button here, I would open up in a new tab and then maybe split your screens up because the new tab will be, it'll just be a video just going over how to set up that particular section. So this video is about, you know, how to set up companies in Kallzu, and that's the section that we're in here. Okay, and you just go across the top. That's the best way to work through this thing for the first time. You know, once you've gone through it a couple times, you can just kind of zip back and forth however you need to in here. So it'll always have this little help video on the side as you go across, bind numbers, and we've done our best to try to make it as intuitive as possible, and to keep, you know, these prices here are just the prices that we've just taken and just copied and pasted the prices for the phone numbers directly off of Twilio. Those could change, and it may take us a day or two to get updated on that, but I don't think Twilio's changed their price in a long time. So and again, help video right up here, going across the top, and then down here in your account details, it's the same thing here, setting up your actually after you check in, it'll take you directly to this screen, and I'll block that out later. So you're getting your API and your token on that, and your invoices. So I would be moving from left to right across, and then down from account across here like that. So some of the let me just highlight some of the cooler features on here, and one of them right away is going to be the ability to do pre or post payment. Okay, so notice the type of payment here is this is prepaid down here, and if we go to this company down here, we'll take a look at it. If I wanted to edit it, I can also click on here, and then again we have these across here, and then another help section on that. But when you're setting up an account, when you're first setting it up, you can, when you're setting up when you're adding a company, and I would encourage you just to play with it, add companies, and just go through it. You can do the qualified call duration. For the most part on here, and we've switched our business on that. You can do a qualified call duration, that is, you know, something that's 60 seconds or longer. You can then at that point, you know, say anything that you pick up the phone, you call for 60 seconds or longer, you're going to be automatically billed with that. Or you just straight up just are very clear with how you run your business, and you know, you're not a paper qualified closed client call business. You are a paper call business, and just like the pay per click, but you're providing paper calls and also, you know, the email leads. Some are going to be duds and some aren't. It's just part of doing business. Anyways, set that up as 0, or, you know, whatever price you want to set it up for the call duration. You know, 2 minutes. It's entirely up to you. Price per leads, same as it's always been on that. You know, whatever you want to set the price up on here, and then you've got the email leads, and there are, if you've been using the new Kallzu theme and the Kallzu plugin, which if you don't prefer to use our theme, that's perfectly fine. But the new because the plugin works independent of the WordPress theme. But the price per email on that, there is, you know, depending on your niche, but normally about, you know, you'll find a minimum of about 20% of the people who decide to, you know, raise their hand and take action will not call. They will fill out the email and call back. And so, you know, you want to definitely take use of that. Otherwise, they may just go on, because you want to give people the option of, you know, here, how do you like to shop? Do you just, you know, when you're shopping locally, do you just prefer to, you know, pick up the phone and call us? Okay, great. We've obviously got that option. Here's the phone number of everyone else. Or are you, you know, are you more of an email type correspondent person back and forth? Then we have that option as well. And what you'll find, depending on your niche, is that, you know, people will put in a real name, a real callback phone number, and in the comment section, you know, if they're like looking for a bid or something like that, they'll put a lot of description in there. This is what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. We're shopping around for a bit or whatever. And people do fill those out. And this is where it gets a little bit different, is in the billing. Now, in the original, our K1, we had prepaid. We just had a postpaid, and that basically works the same way as it did in the past. The person will get an automatic email, and now the invoices are actually they're both on PD, and they're also virtual on the internet with a pay button. There is no the way that the programmer set it up, and he's really a smart guy, is that he set it up such that you didn't have to go into PayPal like you did with the other ones, like get permission and click and do this and that. You put in your PayPal email address, you're done. There's nothing else to do. It will just automatically set up there, and you can have any kind of PayPal account that you want. We did, it was required that you had the minimum basic business account. You don't have to have that now, but if you're running a business, I would definitely have a business account. But that's, I would, just as a side note, not that you have to have it for the system, but if you're running a business, you should have your business under a business, and at least a corporation or LLC, or better yet, offshore. But anyways, so that's postpaid, and you're going to get, as you go through this thing, very easy to set up, and you want to get a number through Twilio, and you'll set it up, and we've got all the instructions here. Remember, you've always got that in the upper right hand corner. Just watch that. Probably the easiest thing to do is to set up two windows side by side, and then watch it and do it as you're watching it. In the postpaid, I would set up the SMS, the text messages, because the text message will actually get your clients will get emailed weekly when the invoice is due, and they'll get text once a day. And the text, what's cool now about the way that the invoicing is sent out versus before is that before we had the text alert, which you could opt in or out of. You can here as well. I would opt into it. Is that now they can, when they get it on their smartphone, they can get that text message, and there's a link there because the invoices are also set on a URL, so they're on the web, so they can just click on it. It'll take them right to the invoice right on their phone or whatever device that they're using, and there's it breaks it down for them, and there's a PayPal button right there. So it works out really well. If you want to do prepaid, a couple more drop-down boxes happen here, right? And one of them is the notification threshold and the minimum deposit amount. Now, this is important here because and we've set these up here what the threshold is, and what happens is that let's say, okay, Mr. So-and-so, you want to get started, you gotta, you need to prepay the $500 up front, and that's our whatever you want to set it up as. Let's say the threshold is $200 here. So let's say that the minimum deposit amount is $500. So what happens is that when they'll still get the weekly invoices, and the invoices will now be subtracting. So they'll have all the calls, all the email leads, and it'll show their current balance minus what they've used. And if it goes below whatever threshold you want, let's say that you're asking them to top up to 500, that's the minimum amount. That means that when their account goes below 200, goes to 199, or let's say you set it at $50, goes down to $49, they're going to be getting alerts daily that you need to top up, or you're going to lose your numbers, you're going to lose you're going to lose your leads, and then the minimum amount deposit. Let's say you set it at they have to top up at least to 300. They can do more if they want. Then you can set up those variables here and play around with it. This is I'll get into more training later. We're really moving over into a postpaid, having everybody prepay. And we're moving over into a qualified calls of 0 on here, which means every call you get, unless it's a spam call or something like that, you're going to be charged for it. So all that's pretty self-explanatory. You just go through there. Couple other features here, and then I've got to run in just a few minutes, but there'll be a lot more coming at this. Is with the campaigns on here. When you're setting up these campaigns, what's cool about these is, let me edit this one, the bankruptcy attorney. We'll take a look at this example. Is that you can set these up, okay? And this is going to be particularly, these features are much going to be utilized if you decide to go after more competitive marketplaces, which is going to have more or larger call volumes to it, more traffic. So this is where this is going to come into play here. You've got a choice on this. So you can start. Let's say in this particular example here, I've got bankruptcy attorney. I've got 2 companies in here. I've got in this test example. I've got the blog company and the test company, and they're both bankrupt attorneys in Sacramento. And so what's going to happen is that if you select round robin, all that means is that the first lead that comes in, first call, goes to company 1. Okay, then the second call goes to the next company, and it still bills them independently and all that kind of stuff, and it just rotates. It's a round robin. Okay, the other, and I think this one's a little bit better. On here, you have to test it out for yourself, but the multi-ring numbers, which means it doesn't matter how many bankruptcy attorneys you have down here set up here, they will all ring simultaneously. So if you got a hot lead coming in from one of your lead gen sites, a video, a citation, paid advertising, I'll get into that later at another call, and some different training. We're also doing a lot of paid advertising. It's working fantastic. But anyways, so we've multi-network just means, hey, it's going to ring both here same time. First one to pick it up gets the call. Okay, and then the email forward on here, it can't go multiple, which means it's going to go out to everybody at the same time. It's just going to be either round robin. So this first company gets the email lead, this one gets the next one, and it just rotates back and forth. That way we're not sharing email leads, and it just makes everyone happier. The customer's happier. The customer filled out inquiring about the business through company 1. They don't want to be getting responses back from other companies. Okay, that's not, then they're going to start complaining about it. So really some cool stuff there. Or you just you can get rid of one company, and now you're just going to go one company, and you're just working with one. So just as simple as that. It's good stuff on there. Those are the big features right there. I'd play around with that with the post call, or the prepaid and postpaid. Really, really valuable stuff here. And then make sure to we'll get started on this quickly. This is just I'll get this in the membership site, but this is just a sample site. This is how we're doing our sites now and how we'll do them moving forward. Previously, it's been individual sites, so one URL for one city. Now we're doing one URL for all cities for the same niche. And the Kallzu theme and the Kallzu plugin all support this. So if you got the, we're not showing it here on this site, but so this would be like, this is like a pest control. This is just an example site. That's all that it is, just for you to take a look at. We've got the different locations on here, and we just entered in a few. Again, this is just an example site. But whoops, where's the locations? Should see a drop down here. we'll take that plugin off. Oh, here we go. Okay, so if I've got this particular location here, might be in San Diego. So my location's on here, just going to be then the URL switches to San Diego. I'll go over a whole lot more with this, but this is definitely the way to go. It's there's kind of a tipping point once you get beyond, maybe, let's say, depends all on the niche and other factors, but we found, on average, a good rule of thumb is if you're ranking in whatever niche you select using one domain, like we've done here, and you're ranking on page 1 in 4 or 5 cities, every city thereafter is just going to rank a heck of a lot easier because you're getting a larger, more authoritative site. Google starts to trust you more. They know what you're all about. So, hey, you're a big pest control company, and here you are opening up another office in whatever city, blah, blah, blah. And the Kallzu, you put a different phone number, obviously, for each city. And with the Kallzu opt-in theme, we haven't put it on here. I'll have someone enter it in so you can see what it looks like. And we should update the theme so you can see the tap to call and press to call, all that kind of stuff on here. And so we'll go over that. So I'm going to go ahead and I just want to on this call here, just wanted to answer the basic questions, just kind of do a walkthrough, just basically get back in touch with everybody, and we will go through this on here. I'll go through these questions. If I don't answer your question, my support desk is open right now, and they're more than qualified to answer these questions. So they're really good. Can I use Kallzu with YouTube videos? Yes. You can use them with YouTube videos, whether you want to embed your YouTube video on the Kallzu theme or just rank videos and just add a call to action phone number there. That's not a problem at all. Yes, they will. Yes, absolutely, Doug. There will be new training on how to use a master domain site and all of that kind of stuff. So there's lots of changes in the SEO world. Actually, quite not, but there is, and there's different strategies that we're using. Yes, Joe. I'll go over that in regular coaching calls. Yeah, we are moving to and have been moving to a prepaid call model. So we collect up front, and the new system makes it super easy to do that. The invoices are really smart. It deducts whatever they've used and brings their balance down. And they see that on the invoice, and they still get that invoice every week, and everyone's happy. And once they hit a certain threshold that you get to set, say they fall below $100, then they got to top it back up basically, and you get to set up what's the minimum threshold. They got to top it back up. So if you set it at 500 and they go to top it up, but they only top it up to 300, it'll give them a big warning on the screen. Oh, you got to go a minimum of $500, or they can obviously type up more. Sean says here, I'm really concerned about Google's new updates in the ranking sites, especially with the sites ranking in several states' locations. I can't believe Google likes the lead gen sites ranking on page 1 and undercuts their AdWords profit. They don't know that it is an ad lead gen site. I mean, as far as Google's concerned, we're really just a piece of sand standing on the beach. We're not really Google's main concern. We're not even on their radar on that end of it. And what I will share with you, Sean, and in the training session, and you'll see there, is that we've studied other sites that are out there that are ranking one domain, multiple cities, and so we're not the only ones doing it. We first went out and found others that are doing it. These are other regular companies. It works very, very well. Okay, so I got to get running here. If I didn't answer your question, contact the support. You should all know it by now, but it's the support.kallzu.com, support.kallzu.com. Same support's always been there, always will be. If you got further questions, I will also, those of you who are already scheduled, have already signed up for this call, I'm going to immediately after when I end this reschedule another one, so your information will just be forwarded over to the other call, and then you'll get alerted out to your email box what it is. As always, if you miss them, you'll find them in the replay section on that end of it. My name is Chris Winters, and thanks for attending today. Remember to serve first, earn more, live more. Take care. Bye-bye.